In the middle of the ocean, a group of dolphins swims at high speed, jumping out of the water and diving towards a coral reef. However, one of them sees a toolbox at the bottom of the sea and goes to investigate, until another of his kind calls him back to the group. Shortly afterwards, the curious dolphin sees something else unusual: a crab trap, tied to a boat. The sailors soon pull the rope and notice that their catch wasn't the best, so they throw the trap back into the water. Far away, in a huge swimming pool, a swimming championship is taking place. Among the spectators is Sawyer, an 11-year-old boy, and his cousin, Kyle, who is also a professional swimmer. However, the young man has to say goodbye to the sport as he has been called up to join the army. He then says goodbye to his coach, as well as to his colleague and rival, Donovan, who challenges him in one last competition to decide who is the best. Kyle accepts, but the challenge ends up being in the pool at his house, during the farewell party. The swimmer enjoys the time with his family and friends, while Sawyer is more shy and prefers to hide in the garage to fix his toys. A few minutes later, Kyle goes to see Sawyer and realizes that the boy is not coping well with his departure. Even so, he promises to come back soon and even gives him a Swiss Army knife as a present, equipped with various tools so that he can do his repairs wherever he wants. The next morning, Sawyer wakes up late and doesn't have time to say goodbye to his cousin. He leaves for school on his bike, but as he passes the beach, he meets a man who was fishing nearby. The old man tells the boy to call the emergency services because he has just found a dolphin on the shore that seems to be injured. This is the same dolphin that had found the crab trap in the sea and ended up being captured by it. Thanks to the pocket knife Kyle gave him as a present, Sawyer manages to remove the trap, but the dolphin has a serious injury to its tail. Minutes later, the Clearwater Marine Aquarium team, led by Dr. Clay, arrives to rescue him. The group, which also includes Hazel, the doctor's daughter, takes the dolphin away on a stretcher and, before leaving, the girl thanks Sawyer for his help. Afterwards, the boy runs off to school, but ends up being scolded by the teacher for being late and becomes the butt of jokes among the students. After class, Sawyer decides to go to the aquarium to make sure the dolphin is all right. He sneaks in through the back door, but in addition to him, a pelican bird called Rufus also manages to get in. The boy is startled by the bird and ends up bumping into Hazel, causing her to knock over a cooler with several fish in it. Without hesitation, the bird starts to eat them all, and the young girl asks Sawyer to put the rest of the fish back. She then invites the boy to see the dolphin, which Hazel discovers is a female and names Winter. The two of them then go to the pool, and there they meet two more dolphins, Krista and Panama, who are very docile and know how to do tricks. Finally, they go to see Winter, but she still can't move properly because of her injuries. The pair try to observe discreetly, but Hazel accidentally knocks items off the shelf, and Phoebe, one of the carers, notices their presence. Hazel says that Sawyer was the boy who saved Winter and has come to check on her, but the news isn't good. Having spent a long time with an injured tail, it has deteriorated and surgery may be necessary. However, before they can find out more about her condition, the girl's father arrives on the scene and Hazel takes Sawyer to the exit in hiding. The two say goodbye, and, when the boy arrives home, he begins to research more details about dolphins. Later, his mother, Lorraine, comes home from work and finds him asleep in the garage, having spent the whole night researching on the computer. Sawyer can't stop thinking about Winter, and the next day, as soon as class is over, he rushes to see her again. The boy once again manages to get in through the back door and approaches the place where the dolphin is, without attracting attention. However, Rufus appears again and Sawyer does his best to scare him away quietly, until he ends up being spotted by Dr. Clay. He asks who the boy is, just as Hazel arrives on the scene and introduces him to her father. Even though he helped save Winter, the doctor says he doesn't allow strangers in the marine animal hospital, but when she sees the boy, the dolphin starts making strange sounds. Winter, who seemed very weak and unresponsive, perked up in Sawyer's presence, and the doctor asked him to come closer to the pool. The boy then reaches out to pet the dolphin, which emits a loud whistle, as if it were very happy to see him. Thanks to this reaction, Dr. Clay allows Sawyer to enter the aquarium, as this could help the dolphin's recovery. Excited by this, the next day the boy wakes up early, helps his mother with breakfast, and runs away from class to see Winter. When he gets there, however, there's no one around, and, after a bit of searching, he finds Hazel, crying in front of the door of the marine hospital. Unfortunately, she says, Winter's tail had to be removed to prevent her infection from spreading. This news makes Sawyer even more worried, because without her tail, the dolphin will no longer be able to swim and her chances of survival will be minimal. While the doctors do their best to look after Winter, Hazel takes the boy for an ice cream at her grandfather Reed's house. After this moment of distraction, Sawyer has to go home, but before he does, he asks if Winter has any chance of surviving. Hazel can't say for sure, but even so, Sawyer intends to keep going back to the aquarium to follow her recovery. Another day passes and the boy goes to visit Winter, who is being fed with the help of Dr. Clay. However, this time he lets Sawyer and Hazel take care of the dolphin and the two of them soon get into the pool, guiding Winter all the way. Afterwards, the doctor goes to a board meeting and is informed that the aquarium is going through financial difficulties. The only hope is to sell it to a wealthy businessman, but Dr. Clay refuses, because he doesn't want to abandon the place or the animals. After the meeting, he returns to the pool and tries to give Winter some food, but she refuses. Reed suggests that Sawyer do it, so the boy tries to talk to the dolphin, asking her to feed herself so that she'll be healthier. Winter seems to understand the boy's words and allows him to put the bottle in her mouth. Everyone is impressed by their friendship and Sawyer's dedication, and he can't wait to get back the next day and take care of his friend. However, when he gets home, he finds his mother and aunt and uncle looking very unfriendly. Lorraine says she's discovered that the boy is skipping school and she can smell a strong fishy odor coming from him. After several baths, Sawyer tells the whole truth, but his mother punishes him for lying all this time and tells him to go back to his room. However, the boy's aunt and uncle make her think about it, because they notice that Sawyer is happy, something they haven't seen in a long time. Upon hearing this, Lorraine decides to give her son a chance and, the next morning, the two of them go to visit the aquarium. Inside, the boy shows that he has learned a lot about the marine world and says the names of all the species in the aquarium, which impresses his mother. Finally, it's time to show Winter, the dolphin he saved on the beach. Sawyer promises his mother that he'll go back to school and do his homework, as long as she lets him keep coming to visit Winter. Lorraine accepts and, the next day, she gives her son a swimming costume as a present. Sawyer returns to the aquarium with her and, together with Hazel, he continues to look after Winter, but suddenly the dolphin becomes agitated and tries to break free from the two youngsters. Sawyer and Hazel ask for Dr. Clay's help, but when he sees what is happening, he soon understands that Winter is trying to swim on her own. Even without her tail, she manages to move and gradually becomes able to swim without needing help. Days go by and Hazel teaches Sawyer how to look after a dolphin and the other marine species in the aquarium. Everything seems to be going well, but one afternoon Sawyer comes home to find his mother and aunt crying. They reveal that Kyle has been the target of an explosion during an army mission and is returning home. Although he is happy that his cousin is back, the boy is worried about the seriousness of the accident he suffered. To calm him down, Dr. Clay invites him to stay on the night shift and take care of Winter together. Sawyer accepts and the three of them camp out in front of the pool, with the dolphin constantly watching. The boy then asks if dolphins can have memories and Dr. Clay responds by telling him about the legend of a tribe called the Chumash. According to the story, an ancient goddess saw children playing in their pool and was enchanted by their joy. So she turned them into dolphins so that they could play in the sea forever. In other words, according to legend, humans and dolphins are closer than they might think and are therefore capable of forming a strong bond of friendship. Sawyer is impressed by the story and the doctor gives him a small dolphin sculpture as a present. Hours later, the boy goes to check on Winter and she seems to be trying to communicate with Sawyer. He then goes to get a toy for her, but when he tries to give it to her, Winter pulls him into the pool. The dolphin wanted to get closer to the boy and the two start swimming around the pool, which only helps to make the bond between them even stronger. Unfortunately, the next day, Dr. Clay brings bad news. According to an X-ray taken of Winter, she has a spinal injury, which is getting worse and worse due to her lateral tail movement. As dolphins swim vertically, this injury will worsen over time, to the point where Winter may even lose her life. If this news wasn't bad enough, the boy is also told by his mother that Kyle is still in hospital, as his situation is worse than they imagined. Nevertheless, Lorraine and her son go to the Veterans Hospital and find Kyle in a wheelchair. He is being cared for by Dr. Cameron, a prosthetics specialist, and the accident has hit his spine, causing him to lose movement in his right leg. Although he receives support from Lorraine and Sawyer, Kyle doesn't accept this situation, as his dream of becoming a professional swimmer is over. He tells them both to get out of there and says he's going to stay in hospital until he can recover somehow. Sawyer leaves, furious at his cousin's attitude, but realizes that his situation is very similar to Winter's. That's why, when he finds Dr. Cameron sitting on a bench, the boy tells him he needs his help. He takes the doctor to the aquarium and introduces him to Winter, saying that she also needs a prosthesis to move. Upon inspecting the dolphin's body, the doctor realizes that it won't be an easy task, as Winter's body is slippery and there are no parts of her body to support her. Nevertheless, Dr. Cameron undertakes to help and, in gratitude, the dolphin splashes water on his clothes. With this, the project to assemble a prosthesis begins, so that it can serve as a mechanical tail. After a lot of joint effort by the whole team, they put together a prototype and Dr. Cameron presents it to his supplier. As expected, he is surprised to discover that it is a prosthesis for a dolphin, and the doctor makes it clear that this will be a charity project. After the conversation, Dr. Cameron is about to go home, until he finds Kyle sitting in the hospital room. Even though the young man is disappointed that his dream has ended, the doctor convinces him to go home and find his family, as there are still other paths he can take in his life. Another morning passes and Dr. Cameron takes a makeshift prosthesis to do the first tests on Winter. However, the dolphin has gotten used to the lateral movement of her tail and, because she feels uncomfortable with the prosthesis, Winter crashes into the wall of the pool and leaves it in pieces. The test wasn't promising, but everything gets even worse when it's reported on TV that a strong storm is approaching the region. After helping to store the equipment and keep the animals safe, Sawyer returns home with his mother. Fortunately, with the end of the storm, no one was hurt, but the aquarium was seriously damaged. Sawyer goes there to help with the repairs and, to his surprise, Kyle shows up, having been convinced by the doctor's words and willing to help his cousin. The boy is delighted with this encounter and soon introduces Kyle to his friend, Winter. Even though his leg can't move, Kyle reaches out to pet the dolphin and realizes that, like him, Winter is also learning to cope with her limitations. Despite this moment of relaxation, after the aquarium has been repaired, the council meets to analyze the damage caused by the storm. It soon becomes clear that the only solution is to sell the place and give the animals up for adoption. However, one of the members warns Dr. Clay that no one wants to adopt Winter because of her disability. She even considers sacrificing the dolphin, as there is no more time or money to keep the aquarium going until Dr. Cameron finishes building the prosthesis. With no other choice, Dr. Clay tells Sawyer and Hazel about the board's decision and asks Dr. Cameron to cancel the production of the prosthesis. With no hope left, Sawyer leaves the aquarium on his bicycle, until he comes across a mother and her daughter in a car. The girl says she can't wait to see the dolphin because, like Winter, she also needs help to move around in her wheelchair. She asks to see it at least once and Sawyer agrees to accompany her and her mother to the aquarium. There, the girl is enchanted by Winter's beauty and how similar they are due to their condition. This not only thrills Sawyer, but he also begins to put together an idea in his mind to save not only Winter, but the entire aquarium. He and Hazel go to Dr. Clay and present their plan to spread the dolphin's story and thus attract new visitors. Although he is skeptical about the idea, the doctor is convinced by his father, Reed, that Winter could be the key to saving the aquarium. Thanks to this, Sawyer, Hazel and the whole team start working hard to renovate the site and get sponsors. Kyle shows up to support his cousin and, faced with the boy's efforts to save Winter, he also decides to help. Kyle then goes to a TV news program and asks his journalist friend Sandra to help him publicize the dolphin story. Thanks to this, it is announced on TV that the aquarium will be organizing an event to pay for the prosthesis and the storm damage, on a date that has been named Save Winter Day. Sawyer's plan begins to pay off and Dr. Cameron finally manages to complete the prosthesis project. The piece is then fitted and the whole team prepares to start the tests, with Sawyer at Winter's side, while Phoebe makes the moves to teach her how to swing her tail vertically. Finally, the team lets Winter swim in the pool and, it seems, she is adapting well to her new tail. However, it doesn't take long for the dolphin to feel uncomfortable and slam the prosthesis into the wall, destroying it again. After yet another failure, Sawyer no longer knows what to do and tries to understand why Winter won't accept the prosthesis. Then she starts swimming close to the boy, moving vertically, as if trying to show him what the problem is. Sawyer then realizes that it's not the prosthesis, but the sock underneath it, that's causing Winter's discomfort. The boy tells Dr. Clay, who promptly asks Dr. Cameron to help him think of a way to make the sock more comfortable. Finally, Save Winter Day arrives and a crowd gathers at the aquarium to help with donations. In addition, Dr. Cameron brings a huge suitcase and inside it is the new prosthesis, along with a sock created with silicone, which he has named Winter's Gel. After that, it's time for the litmus test and Sawyer does his best to keep Winter calm. Phoebe then shows the dolphin the vertical movement to follow and, as soon as Winter starts swimming, she again shows discomfort with the prosthesis. Nervousness and apprehension take over, but to everyone's delight, Winter soon gets used to her new tail. She starts to swim vertically and even takes a few dips in the pool, making Sawyer and his friends very happy. Thanks to everyone's joint efforts, the dolphin finally has a chance of survival, but the day isn't over yet. In addition to the fundraising event, Kyle has promised to hold a friendly competition between him and his colleague, Donovan, in the huge lake outside the aquarium. Before the competition begins, Dr. Clay congratulates Sawyer and Hazel on their efforts and dedication to saving Winter's life. Finally, it's time to introduce the two contestants and, despite his injured leg, Kyle accepts the challenge and receives a standing ovation from all the guests. Even so, Kyle says that the real hero of this event is not him, but his cousin Sawyer, and invites him to speak in front of everyone. Despite his shyness, the boy gathers his courage and thanks everyone for coming, saying that they will soon share the same love he feels for his best friend, Winter. His speech thrills everyone and makes the audience eager to watch the swimming competition. Kyle and Donovan get ready and, when they hear the starting signal, they both jump into the sea and start swimming towards a buoy. However, in the middle of the course, Kyle heads for Reed's boat, apparently giving up on the race. But in fact, he's just opted for a relay race, and replacing him is none other than Winter. With his new prosthesis, the dolphin swims at high speed, leaving Donovan behind by a huge distance. In front of a cheering crowd, Winter takes the opportunity to show off a few tricks and starts doing long jumps in front of everyone. Sawyer and Hazel celebrate that their friend is healthier than ever with a handshake. After the excitement, the two youngsters look awkwardly at each other, but Hazel soon pulls herself together and pushes Sawyer into the lake, then jumps in. The game encourages all the children to jump into the water to get a closer look at Winter. Meanwhile, Dr. Clay receives a visit from Phil Hordern, the businessman who bought the aquarium. His original idea was to demolish the place and build a new hotel, but after witnessing all the efforts to save the aquarium, he changed his mind. The site will be preserved and financed by Phil, while Clay will be in charge of administration. This news makes everyone happy, especially Sawyer, who will now be able to swim alongside Winter for many, many years to come. It is then revealed by video recordings that Winter really did exist and her real story has inspired many people around the world. What's more, the efforts of the team that saved her have led to the creation of more comfortable prostheses for both humans and other animals. So what did you think of this movie? Leave it in the comments below. And if you liked the video, like and subscribe for more movie recaps. See you next time.